I pressed my button.
Let's go.
All right, ready?
Gonna-
3,
Okay.
2. Wait, I'll start over.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was a good clap. That was a better one.
Yours
than
or
I've done in the
mine?
past. I mean, I couldn't hear yours because our mics peak whenever we do it.
It's because we're so synced.
The only way I can tell is by the giant spike that it does. It did a nice little, like, wibbly wobbly for me. Kind of like a little Rorschach. What does it look like? What are you feeling when you see this?
Rorschach. I
Rorschach?
see.
Well,
I
hello,
see
everybody.
a big. Hi. Welcome.
Welcome.
You drive. You drive.
I'm driving. I would like to name this episode Short King.
Oh, you got another short king again?
We got another Short King. He,
Is he as short as James Madison?
I don't remember the height of James Madison, but Van
Oh, right.
Buren...
We know the weight.
Wait. Van Buren was 5 feet 6 inches.
Hmm.
And was affectionately nicknamed Little Van.
Aw.
So he's a short king. Short king. Pronounced Martin, but because he's Dutch, I think it's pronounced Martin. Like if the I-N is like an E-N, like Martin. Martin Van Buren. He was an American lawyer and statesman who served as the 8th president of the United States from 1837 to 1841.
He's got some wild hair on him.
He's got some wild hair.
Chops coming out the sides.
It's just so... I think it's because it's so poofy. It feels very candy flossy to me.
Yeah.
Remember in
Like
Wreck-It
cotton candy.
Ralph, where there's that the King Candy guy that's got like...
Yeah, exactly. He's missing a big nose.
He's making a big nose and like a little crown.
Yeah.
Same height, so he's got that going. No, okay.
Can we imagine that he speaks like King Candy?
Yes.
If you have to quote him, you have to do Alan Tudyk.
I'm gonna have... Oh, I don't know if I could do... Because it's very like...
It's very great voice. I
it's
think
a very
he won an
great
award
voice.
for that voice, actually.
Yeah. I watched an interview or like a presentation where he went through his like work in voice acting, and it just slowly degrades into just... And then he becomes the chicken from...
Oh, yeah. Moana?
For Moana. He's the Bach chicken. He's like, I've done these
Right.
crazy voices and like
What has become of my
acting,
career?
and then now I'm just Bach.
He's typecast into
He's
chicken
typecast,
roles.
yeah. And he did another animal or like one-liner animal recently.
In Ryan the Drake. Isn't he in all Disney movies now?
He's he was in the dragon one. Yeah. He's basically in all Disney movies. Honestly, I think as an actor to like quote unquote retire and like become a voice actor is like that's the best you can do. Because you're out of the limelight. You're just chilling.
Yeah, as long as you just can't like yell. 'Cause
Yeah,
have to
you
keep
can't hurt your voice. Yeah, because that's your moneymaker now. It's not your face, it's your voice.
No karaoke nights.
No yoki for you.
That's
Well,
all right.
Martin Van Buren.
So tell me about what did he? Would you say he's a good president?
I think this might be my favorite president.
Really? Better
Now,
than John Quincy Adams?
I think he's come above John Quincy for me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do so.
And now I don't know him as a person. Who knows? He probably had done. He's still a politician, so. So he was a primary founder of the Democratic Party, and he did just like a shit ton of stuff. He served as the New York's Attorney General. He was a U.S. Senator. He was the 9th governor of New York. He then joined Andrew Jackson's administration as the Secretary of State. He was the Minister to the United Kingdom, and ultimately the 8th Vice President of the United States. He was the 8th Vice President to Andrew Jackson, and then became Andrew Jackson's running mate to then become president.
To stab him and take his
throne, take his kingdom.
No, that's not true. I don't know. I see here that he kind of was he a Whig or no? He wasn't a Whig.
He was kind of a Whig.
He's not
The
wearing a wig,
Whigs
that's
and the
for sure.
Democratic Party, I think, combined, and they renamed themselves the Democratic Party. or just like they absorbed the Whigs. But he was an advocate for having a two-party political atmosphere. So he was very for, we don't know everything. We have to kind of have that bipartisan debates back and forth to figure out laws. So he was definitely the kind of... Oh,
go ahead.
I was just the kind of person that was like, we don't know all. We have to have these conversations with the opposites to find the actual answer, kind of thing.
Because before there was the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans, and then the Federalists kind of died out, right? So there was just one party for a long time.
Yeah, and so he brought back that basically the Republic and Democratic parties to be the two main parties of the American legislation.
What's the Free Soil Party? Is that...
Oh my god, I'm so glad you asked. That's the next thing on my point list. The Free Soil Party was a short-lived political party. So they were there are basically a bunch of political parties that are members that I think majoritively were from different parties around that were against having the
Rocks.
slaves.
They like dirt.
No, it was slaves in the North. So a lot of the southern slave states were pushing to expand their slavery ownership and enterprise into the northern parts of America as well as into Mexico. And so a lot of...
No,
we don't want to do that. We want to get rid of it. And so there are a lot of others that were trying to get it spread apart. So the Free Soil Party was a group of politicians that came together and were like, we don't like any of these parties. We're our own party, and we stand for this. We don't want this to be separate. We don't want slavery to go beyond... I guess, truthfully, they're probably like, we don't want slavery at all, but we're not going to fight you Texans about it. You guys keep it in Texas. Keep it in the South. Just don't spread it anywhere else, basically. Keep your COVID quarantined. Keep your slavery quarantined. We'll come back to it later. And it only lasted for a short time, I think 1848 to 1854, and then eventually merged with the Republican Party.
Oh, so this was after he was president?
This was after he was president, yeah. It was, he was there...
Why didn't he do it when he was president?
So he, I don't know. I can't answer that.
Kind of an unfortunate time to...
I know, right? I know. But he was...
At least he changed.
Basically, when he was no longer president, he tried to go in for a second term, and he lost horribly. But he became an elder statesman, which I think is like, you're a statesman, but you've been doing it for so long, and he was like basically consulted through the government. And he led the Free Soil Party, even though he wasn't president.
Okay.
Yeah. And he helped push that ticket through to make them become wherever they were. Yeah. So even though these people were absorbed into the parties that we know now, they still represented themselves, or at least they're like, yes, I'm a part of the Republican Party, but I still self-identify as a Free Soil Party because I'm so far against it, kind of thing.
It's not. I don't know about the name though.
Well, I guess it's free soil, as in like free land. So the North of America, and like
free and freedom.
Freeze and freedom, and soil like as in land. Dirt.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of there's we're gonna get into it, but there's an act called there was the Fugitive Slaves Act of 1850, which basically the southern states and political members who were for it passed a law that...
Did you say 1850? So after he was president again?
After he was president, a law was passed that any slaves that had escaped, and if they escaped to the north or to Canada or just to anywhere not in a slave state, any officer or soldier legally had to return the slave back to the South.
Oh, really?
But a lot of
people... Wait, what was it called again?
The Fugitive Slave Act. So they basically were like, they're fugitives, they've run away, they don't deserve anything, you should return our property, basically, was that law. And a lot of this was also like, like 10 years, 11 years later is when the American Civil War happened. So, like, tensions were high, and a lot of officials and police officers or sheriffs or whatever you call them back then, they a lot of the times just wouldn't follow that law. There was kind of like a didn't see it, not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see that person come through here. I don't know. If I don't know, I don't have to follow the law kind of thing.
Was this in Canada that
No, it was
just anywhere in the north?
It was just mostly in the north, like Oregon and like I mean the states weren't really like established as they are now, but like what is it? Like your north, your Colorado, Wyoming, Oregon, and then there's another little one that I can't remember because I don't know American geography that well.
Wisconsin. No.
Yeah, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Technically, New York's a part of that too, but they're a bit more east northern. The other one.
Well, I mean, Wisconsin is kind of too, but maybe not at the time.
Yeah, the maps were weird because they literally like Texas wasn't the shape of Texas because it was still. It was like a weirder shape, and then it split off into like Vegas and all of that, or Nevada, I guess, and all of those different continents.
And Vegas. When did Vegas come along? When did they start gambling?
when did they start gambling?
when the Cowboys got bored.
Yeah, probably when the reservations came to be. Unfortunately.
Oh, true. Do you gamble much?
Not really. I have gambled.
Did you win anything?
I've won $100 at bingo once. That's not really
Whoa.
gambling.
Dutch always wins.
I'm always a winner. I've played blackjack before in Vegas, but I didn't win. I understand it. You get the theory behind
Gotta
it.
get 21.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at I always lose all my money, so I don't even bother.
Well, they do say if you're bringing it to the table, expect to lose it. And then you're not disappointed.
I'm still disappointed. Did you read about what's it called? The Petticoat Affair?
Yes, I did.
Can you? I don't think that we did it justice last time. Do you know?
Basically, yeah.
I remember he was heavily involved in it.
So, tensions within Jackson's cabinet broke out when his Secretary of War, John Eaton, married a woman of low, air quotations, low social status. Oh. And it was rumored that they were fooling around before they'd gotten married, and she was married to another man during the time that they were fooling around. So it's basically
so it's like an actual affair.
It was, so he had an actual affair, but then married her, and then brought her to Washington and was like, look at my new wife. And a lot of, I think, the uptight wives were like, this hussy trying to, like, schmooze into us. So all of the wives of these, like, high political members basically snubbed her and was like, we don't, John Eaton's the worst. He's like, his wife's a slut.
Low status.
She's low status.
Low status slut.
So, Van Buren was essential in squashing that issue, the petticoat, whatever you call it, by stepping down from his position. So basically, he just said, "I'm gonna step down as your," I think it was either his Secretary of State at the time. And so in doing so was like, I'm going to step down. You know what? Andrew Jackson, because I'm stepping down, it's probably a good time to redo your entire, like,
get rid of all these
cabinet.
misogynists.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? Because I'm stepping down, and like, you're going to refresh my position. It's probably better whoever comes in next refresh the cabinet, basically. And basically
Here's
removed.
what we're gonna do, Andrew.
Just removed.
We're going to replace him with women.
Yeah. We were replacing with women. So just basically getting rid of John Eaton, getting rid of everybody, giving all those wives, and basically no one is gossiping anymore because they're not there to be gossiping. So he basically sacrificed his job to end the drama.
So he's just, and then he ran for president next, I guess. And they're like,
yes.
this guy.
Yeah. Which
This Dutch guy.
I do feel it's like one of those like classic like HBO shows of like, yes, I'm doing this, like, nice thing for you, but it's an also opportunist thing at the same time. Be like, well, I guess I'll run for president next year then.
Chaos is ladder.
Whoa. Chaos is a creaky ladder.
Yeah, chaos is a creaky ladder.
Snakes
that
and
has
ladders.
Snakes. Chaos is a snake and a ladder.
Whoa. That's too deep.
I used to love playing Snakes as Ladders as a kid.
It's a great game. Very simple.
Yeah. I'd always go over to my neighbor's, who was an old lady and player at Snakes and Ladders. And sometimes we'd go backwards. Sometimes we'd go down instead of up.
Oh.
Up the snakes, down the ladders, change it up.
That's fun. That's really fun. Snakes and Ladders is nice because it's not really like... Because it's rolling a dice, right? Don't you just like go whatever number you roll?
Yeah, you can play it without yourself. You can just play it without being there.
That's true. And it doesn't necessarily take skill, so you don't feel like you're like shaming your friends. It's just all
It doesn't even
luck-based.
really take luck. It just takes perseverance.
Just to trust
You
that
just have-
eventually.
Yeah, you just have to play it long enough. That's why I love it. You
It's
can't
all-
lose.
That's more like the game of life than the game of life is.
Yeah. Well,
You've
I
got
mean,
trust
sometimes you can't die in Snakes and Ladders. Maybe you should die in Snakes and Ladders.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Like one snake's like a poisonous snake.
Yeah.
But I remember...
Or like if you get bitten by a snake, then you have time. You lose time. I don't know. Maybe
you have to
should...
subtract 2 from your roll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good.
And then if you roll a 2, then
That's
you're
good.
shit out of luck.
Yeah. Then you
Huh.
are stuck. There you go. And you go backwards with 1. Look at that.
I do remember, though, in the game of Snakes and Ladders, that there were a couple of combo wombos where, like, if you slid
really?
down... I mean, this may have just been
right.
what we did, where, like,
You're bored.
you'd slide down, and then you would hit another snake, and you'd slide down again, you hit another snake.
Right.
But it
I
has
do
to be, like, a
remember
perfect
combos.
storm, like, snake that you hit on. There's always, like, one big one.
Right, yeah. The big one, we called it.
My anaconda don't.
Dun, bun, dun. Oh, my God. Look at that
Look
snake.
at Van Buren. Oh.
So,
Okay.
he was Dutch, right?
He was Dutch. Let's go back in time. So, he was actually born in Kinderhook, New York. His, which most residents there were Dutch.
Is this the first New York president for us? Yeah.
I
think so.
think so, yeah. They've been mostly Massachusetts
York.
and Virginia have been the major presidents.
Big
His
Easy.
father was, I think, a Dutch immigrant. He was actually the first president to be born after the American Revolution, so he wasn't born yet
Oh, really?
when, like, George Washington and everybody was around.
Do you think anyone ever held that against him? Like, you weren't around?
It's possible, right?
You
It's
don't know
like young
that.
blood. You don't know what we fought for type of thing.
What generation would they call it back in the 1800s?
Oh, God.
You 30s. When was he born?
Oh, I didn't
They're like,
look.
you Gen A's. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying?
generation parchments.
Yeah. you generation horses. You're the worst.
We've got wheels now.
Oh no, they'd call him Generation Wheels.
Wheels,
They'll call
and
him
they would be
Wheels.
Generation
Hey,
Horses. Wheels.
Hey,
Yeah,
Wheels.
little van with your little wheels.
Where are you going so fast? Wheels, slow down. What's the rush?
You poke your eye out.
Yeah.
His father did serve as a patriot during the American Revolution, so his father was alive and fought during that war. And I think this is correct
What about 1812?
for most
was he-
presidents. He was the only president to have spoken Singlish. Oh my God, Singlish. I can't fucking read.
English.
The only president to have spoken English as a second language. So his first language was Dutch, or I guess, is it Dutch? No, yeah,
I guess
Doesn't
so,
matter.
right?
I think that's what their language. Anyways, doesn't matter. Anyways, so I think that's true. I'm not sure if any other president so far, like even to this day, his first language isn't English. That's pretty crazy.
Other than bullshit, of course.
Other than bullshit, of course, but that's all politicians
Common
speak
first
that.
language.
All politicians speak that. Following the 1824 presidential election, Van Buren sought to reestablish the two-party system, which I talked about. He ran successfully for governor of New York to support Jackson's campaign, but resigned shortly after. when Jackson was inaugurated, so he accepted the position as Andrew Jackson's Secretary of State, which is what he resigned from during the John Eaton petticoat affair.
I see here that he's on the dollar. Oh no, never mind. Just briefly.
No, but I did read somewhere that like Van Buren is like one of the top 10 most forgotten about presidents.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think he made a splash, but not. He wasn't like dramatic enough, I guess.
What do you mean? He made the free soil.
I know, right? That's what I say. That's what I'm saying. I think he deserves better.
I think that like this was the kind of time when things got boring for little old America.
They did call it the era of good feelings, though, which is basically a period of political history where like everyone was like just like their desire to just like make the country great again. Ooh, that's a timely quote.
Yeah, I heard that there was like a depression though during.
Yes, there was, which is why they say his presidency was average.
Well, did it have anything to do with it? But
no,
do you know why happened?
No. That he just the banks were running out of cash, and they were unwilling to switch back to like gold and silver pieces, or like that whatever transference.
Oh, they wouldn't exchange cash for gold.
Yeah, they were just like, no, we're cash now. We're not going to do that.
That old trick.
Yeah.
I didn't know it started that early.
It started during his presidency, but I'm not really sure if there was anything he did specifically. He did blame
the banks. Were the banks like private back then? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't even know today. I don't even know. In America, I don't know how they connect their banks to the government or not. Look, I know there's a National Bank of America.
We're making this up as we go, but it says here that there was a bank war in 1832.
There you go.
Maybe there was a war, a bank war.
A bank war.
Well, this is on me because Andrew Jackson was the one to do it. So I must have skipped over that part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably why he, like, it was one of those things where it's like, I think that's the one thing that, not like Andrew Jackson, like, left a mess behind. But it was something he left behind for Van Buren?
There was a Panic of 1819 and a Panic of 1837, so maybe it happened twice.
Yeah, so his was the Panic of the 1837. Which...
Well, maybe I
think I wrote it down.
Later. I do find that interesting, like how banks got started.
Okay. Yeah, so basically his presidency was considered average, mostly because he was blamed for the Panic of 1837, which is a financial crisis. But it only lasted to like the mid-40s, so it only lasted for like 10 years. It wasn't like as big as the Depression.
How long did that last?
I think that lasted for like...
The Depression.
Let's see.
10 years is a long time. Like,
that's true.
If I was like coming out of college and then like by the time I'm 30, I just couldn't get ahead the whole time.
I mean, that's the kids these days coming out of sorry, the Great Depression lasted
coming out of every financial crisis in the last 10 years.
Well, the Great Depression lasted from 1921 to 1939.
That's real. Oh.
But that was like... This Panic of 37 wasn't that like people weren't like losing their homes. They just weren't getting no money.
They just didn't have gold, I guess.
They just didn't have they had gold, and I think it was still easier, I think, back then with the trading, like going and like trading a pelt for food, or it was a smaller farming areas. Where then when we got to like 1929, people like lost their homes because they couldn't buy anything or buy food at all. There was just no money. It wasn't like the banks were refusing to like do anything about it. Again, who am I? I'm not no historian.
Well, that's what we're trying to be. We're going to be experts on everything.
Exports. I mean, I am waiting for the time that all of this information gets locked into like some little nook in my brain, and someone's going to ask me a question, and I'll just like have that like
yeah. You'll just like you'll come naturally to.
Yeah.
And then when we write our book, My Favorite President, after we go on tour.
Eat, Pray,
No,
President.
we'll write the book before. Yeah, Eat, Pray, President. So here's you haven't made the case to me of why he's better than John Quincy Adams, and we are allowed to fracture off.
Okay,
But
of course.
what did he do that makes him better than John Quincy Adams?
So, two things for me was the, sorry, I just ate a French fry and it was delicious. Two things to me was the establishing, a like proper democracy. I think like he set up a lot of the two bipartisanship democracy, which historians argue today is the like basically what we have today. Like he built a political democracy that has now withstanded, I don't know, what has it been, like 100 years?
What did he build, sorry?
Like he brought back the two-party democracy. So it's been a one party for a couple of years. He brought it back to be the Democratic and Republican Party, and that has now, his work to do that has held together in the American legislation now for almost 100 years, which I think is pretty insane.
But now we have such a polarized system.
That's true, but I don't think that's
time we
his
start reining
fault.
it in. Well, he pushed the first domino. he pushed a little snowball down the hill, and now it's a giant avalanche.
But, I mean, there's always room for change, but, yeah. And then the other thing was he was a part of passing laws to, I feel like he was the first wheel turn to end slavery. So, like, he was the, like, first person to kind of, like, raise his hand and be like, man, this ain't cool. And, like, I think from here we're going to see every single president start to push for it, or at least some, depending. And then until we get to, obviously, Abe Lincoln.
This is now, like, the era of the Whigs. After him.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I would argue that the Whigs and Democratic are very similar.
Republicans. Yeah. Oh, really?
And then
who was owning the slaves? Both of them?
It wasn't a specific political party that was owning slaves. It was states, like states that were owning them. So it was businessmen, tradesmen, and businessmen. I think there were still political members that owned them, but it wasn't like, because you became a politician or a president, did you get slaves? It was more, I've married a woman whose father had slaves and they gave it to me and I live in the South. Versus, I don't live in the South, I don't have slaves because this isn't where we've never had them here and we never will because we don't think we need them and it's not right. Yeah.
I see here that our favorite, hold on. Was he married?
He was married, but she died very early, and he never remarried. And so for the first half of his presidency, stand by.
Because I see the name. I secretly took a little peek, and I see Dolly Madison makes an appearance. Did you read the
did
section
not.
that says White House hostess?
Well, that I did. So, yeah. So, he didn't have a wife or, like, a first lady, per se. So, for the first half of his presidency, he just kind of did it himself. And then his son got married, which his son's name was Abraham Van Buren, which I think was a very strong name. And he married a woman named Angelica Singleton.
Oh,
Yeah.
So she became first
So then
lady?
he made her the
first
first daughter-in-law, basically the hostess of the White House. But what's crazy, she was 18 years old.
Oh, really?
But which
Angelica Singleton.
And I feel like if that happened today, like let's say,
First lady was 18.
Barack
Well, it's not
Obama.
her.
No. She's
like-
just host. She just like basically takes care of the administration of the building when the president's out doing other stuff. So like making sure there's events going on, and like if someone needs to come by to like do whatever, like you just basically are the hostess of the or host of the building, and if the president's not there, you greet any sort of person that's coming by, type of thing. But I like to think about it as if it happens today, like if Barack Obama just like made his daughter the first lady for some reason, it'd be like MTV's My Sweet 16, which is like, sweet, it's bouncy castles everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen My Sweet 16?
No.
It's great. It's like a bunch of rich kids and like these like outrageous dumbs.
Is it a show?
It's a show. So
it's like a reality show?
It's like a reality show where they follow these like rich kids who get like BMWs for their birthday, and they have like
they just learned to drive.
They have DJ Khaled like come and like perform at their party. It's absolutely ludicrous, and these kids are absolute brats. It's wild.
DJ Khaled. Check this out. This is the line I was seeing. She solicited advice from her distant relative Dolly Madison, who had moved back to Washington after her husband's death, who was John Adams. And soon the president's parties livened up. So we can thank Dolly Madison for that.
There you go.
She's like, this is how you throw a party.
You're a married woman now, Miss Singleton. Let's live it up.
Miss Marriedton, more like.
Ayo.
That'd be a pretty cool party to go to.
Yeah.
I bet you DJ Khaled was there.
Remember the time DJ Khaled got lost at sea on a skidoo and then Snapchatted it the entire time?
Yeah, he had reception?
Yep. He just updated people that he took a skidoo out and couldn't figure out where he had to go back on the beach. Like, he wasn't, like, lost. He just, like, went around the island. Shore. He could still see the shore, but it didn't look like the shore he needed to go back to. So then he just kept Snapchat updating of, like, I'm going to go a bit farther. We'll see DJ Khaled out. It's great.
Oh, my goodness. I was going to say something mean, but I won't. Okay, I'll just allude to it. I wouldn't be offended. No, I wouldn't be offended. I wouldn't be disappointed if
he went missing.
Yeah. I would be indifferent to if he went missing.
Yeah, I mean, like, same. I think he's a good source of entertainment, but not like my top 10. He's just kind of there.
Who's your top 10?
Of entertainment?
Yeah.
Oh.
Globally.
That's a hard question.
They don't even have to be like entertainers. They can just be entertaining to you.
Entertaining to me.
Okay, not top 10. Just give me your top 3.
Top 3. Okay, I was going to say, because 10's a lot.
Loosely committed. Yeah, loosely committed, top 3 with allowance to change at any time.
So, let me figure out, I don't remember her name. 1 second. But weirdly enough, I know her daughter's name. Or her mother's name, sorry. 1 second. Maya Rudolph.
Oh, yeah. She's like with Kristen Wiig.
Yes, Kristen Wiig. She was on SNL for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love her. And then there's... This one's based off of a Vine, and her mother is Minnie Riperton, Maya Rudolph's mother is Minnie Riperton, who's a singer from the, like, 60s and 70s. Great singer. Okay, and this one's a TikTok or a Vine. TikTok. I'm going to see if my Google algorithm will bring it up for me.
Okay, Google. Can you hear me?
Just
okay, Google. Oh, no, I probably shouldn't say that because now people can.
Oh, that's true. Well,
no, that's the.
Well,
Siri.
They could just Siri.
Oh wait, I just had a great idea. We can fuck with people who are listening to this podcast, and we'll set off there. Alexa,
okay.
Alexa, can you order me 100 rolls of toilet paper, please? Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Confirm. See if that works.
They could do, hey Google, turn off the lights. Just see if that, but that's what we're hoping that people are, listening.
That's hoping we have listeners.
Not with their headphones, because if they're listening to their headphones, we're screwed.
Well, the best way for the listeners, the best way to listen to this is in stereo on your old stereo system.
That's true. I hope that we are being listened to on Bluetooth speakers while you're doing your dishes or crocheting. But only those two things.
Apartment Dad is crocheting as we speak.
I knew it.
Do you think he listens still? I haven't heard it. I haven't heard him say anything.
I mean, I guess you could quiz him on...
Yeah, I'll guilt him. I'll be like, "Hey, what do you think of the podcast? How we've grown?"
And then like give him a fake fact and see if he agrees with it. Be like, "Yeah, we really
yeah.
Really
What do you think of that? What do you think of that episode where we I'll have to think ahead.
Yeah, I can't think of anything on the spot. I can't find the thing I'm thinking of, so that's fine. If it comes to me, I'll bring it back up. But so Maya Rudolph, I'm trying to think of just like TV show stuff. I mean, I love Dungeons and Dragons. So anyone from the Critical Role cast would probably be in like number 2. And then, of course, the best 2 hosts, Deep Throat and Dutch, on My Favorite President.
Oh, nice answer. Nice safe.
Those are my top 3 entertaining people. Above DJ Khaled.
Well, at least I beat DJ Khaled. You said you play? Do you play Dungeons and Dragons at all?
I do, yes.
Would you tell me about your character?
Which one?
The one that you most frequent.
Most frequent? Okay, I have 2. One is named Constance Underfoot. Connie. What do they do? For short. She is a Connie, like Connie. Connie. She's a halfling bard, but she just wants to be a Michelin star chef. So her main goal is to collect as many herbs as possible to return home and beat her annoying twin brother at a cook-off.
That's quite the backstory, Dutch.
Yeah. And they have a golden frying pan that they use to cook and to smash into people's faces.
What level is she, if you don't mind me asking?
10?
Whoa. My character's only level 4.
7.
But I haven't played.
No, 7.
Oh, 7. That's
7.
pretty good.
7.
It's not 10, but it's not 4.
And then my other character that I play is named Dirk. And
Dirk?
he's Dirk, D-E-R-K.
Like Dirk Gently.
Like Dirk Gently, but just Dirk. And he's just a small owl boy wizard who's just trying to get his way through the world and learn and read books.
Aww.
Yeah, he's just Dirk.
Dirk, it reminds me of Greek. What's that? Game of Thrones. Reek.
Reek, yep.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I have a level 4 thief.
Nice, solid.
Who's very bad at pickpocketing.
That's a great character trope. Very great.
Always gets arrested.
That's going to be really interesting for you to play when you get to higher levels, because with a rogue archetype, you get uncanny talent, where just like anything you roll's a 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be all right. Maybe, I'm only bad because of the dice.
Yeah. Well, no. Eventually, even if the dice, basically, if you roll a dice that's under 10, it automatically reads as a 10, and then you add your modifier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then you just start to get proficiencies, and they just stack up. It's wild.
I don't know. I always like being thieves in like Skyrim and stuff.
They're
Stealth
good.
Archer. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Do you play Skyrim at all?
I played a little bit. I'm not as obsessed as the masses are. I do think that I would, but I feel like I've missed the boat.
If you like D&D, you could easily get into...
Well, I've been playing the pre-release of Baldur's Gate. That one's pretty dope. That one's like very D&D. You roll dice and everything.
Oh, we should do one episode as D&D. Would you know how to play, or because I'm really rusty?
Yeah, I've DM'd before, but I don't know what would how would we incorporate president, or just like no president at all?
We can be our favorite presidents.
Oh, jeez. But who's gonna DM if we're both our favorite presidents? Like, what is this campaign? This is just us role playing as presidents.
Or we could role play as ourselves doing a podcast.
That's what's happening right now.
We'll save that for a really boring president. Juice it up.
Oh.
Who's the most boring president, do you think?
Boring? I don't know. Maybe Woodrow Wilson, just because he's got a... I don't know.
Wasn't that the guy who was... Wasn't that the guy who was, like, his wife? He was, like,
He was his wife?
No, yeah, that can you imagine?
I married
I am
myself.
my own first lady. But I really want to remember which president it was that was like in a vegetable state where they couldn't even like sign.
Oh, right. That was what
Who
we've
was
done in the
that?
past.
I gotta find out which.
I think it was the ones that died really close together. Wasn't it?
Who it was two presidents?
Well, no, there were two presidents that died within they died on the same day. Like one was an ex-president and one was the current president.
Oh.
And
I
then
wonder how many were killed.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Because then it would be their vice president, right?
Right. Never mind. Wait. Yes, so John Adams and Thomas Jefferson died both in 1826. I think it was Thomas Jefferson. They just didn't say anything.
You're talking about a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Oh.
What were you talking about?
There were okay. So I can't remember for sure. There was a president who, I'm not sure who it was, but it was Dwight E. Eisenhower. I'm pretty sure, because he's in a wheelchair. Or maybe not. Don't take my word for it. But there was a president who like got really sick or something, and or maybe it wasn't him, but there was a president who got sick, and he wasn't there. Like he wasn't able to do anything. So the first lady, like his wife, just did all his job for him.
Oh man,
But also don't quote me on that because it's
Jimmy
not,
Carter's still alive.
Jimmy Carter's still alive?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was born in 1924.
Must be old then. Whoa, so he's almost 100?
He's almost 100.
I thought he
the
died.
Heck? Wikipedia says he's still alive.
Oh yeah, he's 98.
Jesus.
Damn. I think I did see him at the inauguration.
Probably looks
'Cause
like
they always show
a
up,
ghost. Because, like, George H.W. Bush, so George Sr. had passed in 2018. Ronald Reagan passed in 2004. And then Jimmy Carter, who's just still kicking.
He's gonna live forever.
That's wild.
Oh yeah, he was even before Reagan, eh? Wow.
Yeah. There's, like, two presidents
Right.
after him that have passed since he has. And, like, he's been around a while.
We should get him to be president again. Bring it back.
1942.
At what point do you start thinking that our opinions will get controversial?
Probably episode now.
No. Probably like Bush.
Oh yeah. I got you.
think
Like
that's it.
actual, yeah. No.
Yeah, that's
'Cause,
gonna
like,
have to be like
It is like obviously we're living in this time now. We look back and we're like, man, slavery's bad. Duh.
yeah.
But then you could argue that the prison system just replaced that or whatever. But it is right now what we're dealing with is like so many years in the past that we don't actually have an emotional connection to it. When you start to get into those presidents that I actually remember and like it's legislation that's around that we have benefited from or not benefited from will be when it gets controversial. 100%.
Just wait till you hear my opinions on Afghanistan. Just you wait.
I could go two ways.
Oh yeah, true. You'll
I
have to
never
wait
know.
a full year.
Am
You
I
have to wait a
for
full
it?
year.
Am I against it? Who knows?
Who knows? You gotta listen.
My couple of things that I had little fun facts about Van Buren. He was the first president born as a citizen of the United States as well. So,
Oh, so he's like, what's that movie? What it's like in the Matrix? The people who were born outside of the simulation,
exactly.
who didn't
Exactly.
who didn't have the metal holes in their head.
Exactly, because all the other
whole
presidents
speed.
had been British citizens that had immigrated to the United States.
Really, so I guess we really are. It kind of does feel like a turning point then when they spent their whole lives.
Exactly. This is now a country I was born in, I grew up in, and now I'm supporting and establishing, basically.
It's funny because that's when it starts. That's when like slavery starts.
Yep.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah, that's when
like,
the
they
Civil
start
War.
talking about it.
Yeah. Because basically, Texas and all of the southern states are threatening to separate. They don't want to be a part of America anymore because they want to be able to do a bunch of horrible things with people as slaves. And the government's like, you know what, this is kind of a bad thing.
Wait,
that we're doing here."
Texas wanted to do that?
Yeah. Texas.
Was that Andrew Jackson? And Aaron Bush?
No, it was during Van Buren's time. And it was the kind of like, well, maybe a little bit after. We're starting to get a little bit ahead of ourselves. This is basically the leading up to the American Civil War, where the
that
northern
I really
and
don't know anything about.
yeah, so
Not
the base
like, not very much.
basically you've got like the America's expanding. They're starting to settle beyond just Virginia and Massachusetts and Texas. Texas was a part of Mexico, and they sold it to the states.
When was the Alamo? Do you know when that was?
The Alamo
remember the
was
Alamo?
yeah, that was the war that happened in Mexico and Texas, which was basically
Have
their
we missed that?
separation from that was I think during oh man, my memory. During Andrew Jackson's time.
Oh, really? Oh, man, I must have done a very good job on Andrew Jackson.
Alamo.
Because they always say, remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo?
I know nothing about it. Oh, yeah, 36. So I missed it.
I mean, technically, it isn't necessarily a American president issue because it wasn't a part of America at that time. It was technically a
Right.
part of the Mexican Republic. So that's probably why it wasn't a part of Andrew Jackson's
Do
bio.
you know enough to tell me about it?
Kind
Or
of.
anything at all?
It was basically like Texas was a part of Mexico. They had a revolution, and it was a 13-day siege where Mexican troops tried to reclaim this
It back
building.
from the States?
Yeah. So there's like
Gotcha.
the Alamo. It was a building which I think was I don't know what it was before, but there were people who were the revolutionists were held up in this building for 13 days, and they were basically trying to liberate Texas from the Mexican country. And the troops of the Mexican army tried to get them out for 13 days and failed. And these revolutionists stuck it out, and then eventually they gave up. They won the war. They were able to separate, and that's when America absorbed them into their country. Is the very basic knowledge that I have about it. There's a lot more stuff that I think is involved with it. And then that's when Andrew Jackson bought, or at least not Andrew Jackson himself, but the American government bought the country or the state from Mexico and made it part of their country.
I watched an interesting documentary. No, sorry, not a documentary. An interesting movie recently, but I hadn't finished it yet. It's called Bardo, False Chronicles of a Handful of Truths. And I can't speak on it yet because I haven't finished it.
Okay. Next
I don't know where
episode,
this is going. Yeah,
We'll get a
I'll give you
review.
my epic conclusion.
Yeah. Any movie about the Alamo is always great.
I don't know if it's
that'll.
about Alamo, but it's about a it's I think it's like a I think the whole thing takes place in a dream where America buys a part of Mexico, and then this guy Silverio is like he's like this fall guy for it politically or something. I don't know. It's all takes place in his dream though. I don't know. I'll have to watch it.
And then give us your review.
Yeah. Have you watched any? Have you watched Avatar 2? No, you're waiting for it to.
I'm waiting for it to come to
Come to
Disney
streaming.
Plus so I can.
Oh, is that a Disney Plus thing?
I think it will be. They've advertised it on Disney Plus.
Oh,
Yeah, because
they're already-
they have the Avatar ride at Animal Kingdom at Disney World.
What's that ride?
I haven't
Do you ride
experienced
a-
it. It was being built the last time I was there, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's a classic. Like they've
Ride
like
one of
they've
the, you
built
plug your
like
braid into.
yeah, you
tie
like
your
ride in
braid
this little like
onto a
cart, or you ride on one of those little
raptor.
dragon. You fly through a bunch of different like really cool like movie sets, and like makes you feel like you're actually on the planet.
What ride was it? The SpongeBob ride you were telling me about?
Oh.
Was it previously where like it squirts smelly
No,
stuff
no, no,
at
that's
you?
a Bug's Life. There's a Bug's
A
Life
Bug's
ride
Life.
where it's like a 4D experience with like there's a little thing in your chair that stabs you in the back and like air and like water, and it's horrible.
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah.
I imagine the Avatar ride has all that.
I hope not. I want to enjoy the Avatar ride.
They should have an Avatar ride that's in VR, and then you pretend that you have like you're plugging into an avatar.
I'm
That'd be cool.
I don't know if I'd want
And then you
that.
can like run. You can run and see what it's like to feel like
Oh.
you don't live in a wheelchair. And then
It
you
would
can,
be-
and then when you
Weird, because it's like as much as like VR, it feels like you're that person. You don't have the weight of like being
Yeah.
a like tall alien. So that would be kind of freaky if they figured out a way to like trick
think
your
there's a way to,
senses.
like, there's a way to I've never tried it myself, but there's a way to shoot a current through like the back of your ear, like your behind your ear, and it's like called vestibular. What's it called? Vestibular stimulation or something, and it makes you feel like you're falling or like you can.
That makes
stim
sense
you-
because you have in your
Or
ear,
in your ear.
your inner ear. You know those like when you go to like hang a picture, you have like a little leveler and there's a little air bubble in like the water that lets you know if your picture's level.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
But it's in
Yeah,
your
we have
ear.
little levels in our ears.
Yeah. The only reason I know that
Yeah,
is
it's
my
vestibular.
uncle had a like this is like a very rare occurrence and it happens like one in every like 50,000 people. All of the hair, there's like little hairs in there that like sense where the water is so you know if you're standing up or laying down. All of the hairs in his ears just fell out one day.
Oh,
And he
so,
like and like
he
for,
fell
like-
over probably.
for like weeks he just had to lay on his couch and he just felt dizzy and nauseous until the hair grew back. The doctor's like, we
What?
can't do anything. It just happens sometimes. You just gotta wait for the hair to grow back. And it did, and now he's fine.
Was he going like through chemo or something?
Nope. He just literally one day he just felt really dizzy and nauseous and he went to the doctor and they're like,
Nice.
yep, we checked your ears. Your hair's
Just a
fall
male
out.
pattern baldness.
Totally fine.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's wild.
That'd be so. Apparently, there's a lot of cool things about ears. Speaking of ear hair, your ear hair is how you like signal out like someone's voice in a crowd. It just like tunes it. So many cool things about ears.
Yeah, yeah. And then, nope, it's gone. There was something I was gonna say, but it's gone.
How about? I was just gonna propose something you said instead, but
I have one
You-
last
you sh-
fact before we
about
about Van Buren.
Martin Van Buren.
The word okay or the slang like okay came from Van Buren
Really?
because his campaign slogan was Old Kinderhook, and they would always abbreviate it to like okay.
And that means like
So Old Kinderhook was the Kinderhook was the town that he grew up in New York, and so when he was running for president, their slogan would always have Old Kinderhook, and so the capital O and capital K were always shown, and so people used to refer to him as OK or like the OK president, and then that's what coined
Well,
the term of like
and they're
okay
like-
and us saying okay.
and they're like, this guy's all right. He's okay.
He's
And then-
okay. And
and
they
then
also
it
called
suddenly-
him Martin Van Ruin because of the stock market crashes.
That doesn't sound all right to me.
No, but the okay
But-
one's good.
Yeah, hey, that's a pretty good legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
Also, the last one that I found that I forgot that I wrote down was he inspired an episode of Seinfeld. It was called The Van Buren Boys. It was the handiwork of writer Darren Henry. On the 8th season episode featuring a storyline of Kramer is confronted by a gang, but accidentally flashes their secret signal and voids confrontation. And he puts up 8 fingers, and which is referred to Van Buren being the 8th president of the United States. I don't know what the context is of the episode, but apparently the writer was really into it.
Oh, so like they were a gang.
Their
based on Van Buren?
gang was called the Van Buren Boys, and their gang symbol was just holding up 8 fingers that Kramer just randomly did, and was able to not become harmed by the Van Buren Boys.
Wow, these guys sound pretty hard.
Yeah.
Pretty tough.
Pretty bunch of short kings, am I right?
These guys sound okay. Hey. Who
Got
is the
him.
tallest president?
Probably Lincoln.
I heard he was pretty tall.
He's pretty tall.
He was a tall glass of water, that guy.
It didn't help with his hat,
Yeah.
right?
Where is he? I'm trying to get it. See if
He's
they
the
have
most
his head.
iconic. I think him and JFK are probably the 2 iconic looking presidents.
Have you seen that
and
picture of
Nixon.
Abe?
And Nixon.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Trump now, I guess.
And Trump now too. I mean, I think they're always like when you draw like the caricatures.
Yeah,
That's
like
usually
when someone has a mask of a president, they have
yeah,
they have Nixon, JFK.
but they all have just
Is that-
something. Like even George Washington. Like George Washington has something visual about him that I'm like, okay, like I know that face. But the rest of them, like I see them, but I don't like. There's nothing really that pops out at me.
Is that just because you don't know them?
Maybe.
Millard Fillmore kind of looks like familiar. He looks like Alec Baldwin, kind of.
Ooh yeah. You could play him in a.
Yeah,
Biopic?
Yeah. In
If
the
he's
wig, it would
ever
be called
allowed.
the Wig.
if Alec Baldwin's ever able to act again.
Yeah, once he gets out of prison. Can you imagine?
Jesus.
Do you consider him responsible for that?
I mean,
I don't.
I don't. It's just so hard because I'm just like, I don't really care at the same time. Like, I care about the woman who died. I don't really care about Alec Baldwin.
Is that just because he's Alec Baldwin, or
I think so. I don't know, because I don't know these famous people, right? So it's like, I don't know who you are as a person.
well, surely he doesn't like deserve to go to prison.
No.
To, like, for killing someone.
No.
I don't know.
I think it's obviously an accident.
We gotta at least get here for in penance. He has to make a Millard Fillmore movie. There, it's that simple.
No, he has to be in the next Avatar movie, and then I'll forgive him.
Yeah, Avatar 3. We can, and the beautiful thing is we could just like quickly replace him in. We just get a quick mocap session,
It's fine.
quick cameo.
Just make him blue.
Yeah, and you know what? The beautiful thing is he can't kill anyone on the Avatar set
Yeah.
because it's virtual production.
There's no guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Perfect.
Can you imagine if that's like he got a reputation that he'd just kill people? Oh, Alec,
Oh, yeah.
you were the best Baldwin.
Yeah. There's a lot of Baldwins.
Mm-hmm. Who's the best Baldwin?
Well, I guess Alec Baldwin because he was the more prominent.
Baldwin of the. He
brothers.
was the most Baldwin of them all.
Yeah. I like Stephen Baldwin. That's just because he's got a little bit of craziness behind his eyes.
I don't even think. Who are all the Baldwin boys?
So there's William Baldwin,
Bill Baldwin.
who's been
I
in.
have to recognize them.
Yeah, I mean he just looks
Is
like
it all
Alec.
boys?
He just looks like Alec Baldwin, just like a little younger. Stephen Baldwin.
I don't know any of these guys.
Stephen Baldwin
guy
was
looks like a mafia
in
guy.
The Usual Suspects.
Oh,
He
I love
played. He was in the Flintstones, the live-action Flintstones movie.
Right.
Viva Rock Vegas. And then the other Baldwin brother is Daniel. Baldwin.
I don't know if these guys are famous enough to be.
No.
Have...
So I would say Alex, like your A-tier celebrity actor. Steven's probably B, and then William is C, and then Daniel is a D level actor.
What? All right. That's rough. That's a rough criticism.
Yeah. I mean, not by quality, just by namesake knowing.
Who's the sexiest Baldwin?
None of them? Maybe Daniel.
Really?
Daniel has a bit of an Elvis look to him, so I'll give it to Daniel, even though he's the lower known actor.
Yeah. And he's also one of the tallest Baldwins.
There you go. See, it's like I knew.
6'2" Baldwin. All right. I think that we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, talking about Baldwins.
Well,
we
anyways,
are past.
to summarize, I do think that currently, Martin Van
Alec
Buren,
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin is my favorite president. No. So far,
I think that
Martin Van Buren.
I think that I personally might stick behind with Quincy.
This is it. This is
And
where our
that's okay.
friendship
This
divides.
This is where we fork in the road.
And the feud begins.
We might meet again.
I think
I
we
have
will.
a feeling.
I think we will as well. I do think I won't I'm not gonna lock in my answer until we get to the end. But he's Van Buren's up there for me.
Yep. Once we finish Joe, episode whatever Joe, then that's when we'll figure it out.
Joe, I mean, I am suspecting that by the time we get there, there'll be another president.
Oh, are we gonna take that many vacation days? Or maybe
Oh,
he'll
I guess
die
if we're
of
doing
old
it
age.
once a week, that's true, or he dies.
fingers crossed. Well, I don't know. Fingers crossed
Well,
he doesn't, I guess.
Oh, I guess never mind. He still has 2 years.
That means Kamala. That'll be episode 50, whatever. Kamala.
Kamala Harris. Yeah, she's the first vice president woman.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there'll be a woman president soon.
president, if he dies.
So they run 4 years total?
Yep, and then they
get to
can
go
run
from. Got it.
another
Okay,
4.
so then I'm wrong. For some reason, I thought it was only 2 years. I was like, yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably get there.
Well, he's an old guy.
That's true.
He's
40,
no spring chicken.
1942. I mean, he's only like. Trump was born in 1946, so he's only 2 years older than Trump.
Well, they're both old. They're both too old.
Yeah.
Folks.
Biden just shows him more, because Donald Trump just dyes his
Yeah.
hair in spray tans.
Yeah. Also, Biden's like sometimes he'll say things. I'm like, you have dementia. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, he's
Grandpa.
not there right now.
Go sit down.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. But then you just love him for it because he
cook.
gives off like grandpa vibes too. He's just like, man, like, aw,
Yeah. He says things like malarkey.
malarkey. Yeah. I love the video of when Joe Biden's just yelling, "Soda!" and I have no idea why. It's a great video.
I wonder who's gonna have to do Joe Biden and Trump. One of us. Which one of us?
Ugh.
I won't do the math.
Do we pull straws?
No. We just see what happens. We
Okay,
see
well,
who
we
gets
can-
sick.
so
Who studies the wrong president.
Here's the thing. I'm on Van Buren, which is an even number. You're on William Henry Harrison, which is an odd number. So if
Oh,
I
yeah, so I
go
guess that's
to
pretty
that
obvious.
means you're Trump and I'm Biden.
Okay, I'll do Trump. Buckle up.
Unless another
Buckle
classic Dutch brain happens where I research the wrong
Yeah,
president
yeah.
in order. And
Maybe
we have to do another switcheroo.
research. Maybe I'll research someone. Maybe I'll research Alec Baldwin instead of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Whoa,
thanks,
we're going
folks.
over here. Whoa. All right.
Ooh,
Thanks,
4
everyone.
minutes. That's extra
4
content.
minutes.
That's going to cost you on the Patreon.
extra. Yeah. This we have to keep it under an hour because SoundCloud only lets us upload 3 hours.
Well, that's okay. I think
All
we
right.
talked randomly at the beginning. Anyways, goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care.